4 minutes until showtime. 3 minutes until showtime. 2 minutes until showtime. 1 minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Election 2024 is over. America has voted, and both sexism and racism have won the day. On Liberal Dan Radio, we will hold everyone accountable, from the media that failed to report the threat that Trump poses to this nation, to the people who supported him. We will pick up the mantle to educate the people about his actions, from being a dictator on day one, pardoning January 6th domestic terrorists, implementing Project 2025, and any other draconian measures he tries to pass. And now, the resistance begins. And welcome to Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. This is host Dan Zimmerman coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. To join the conversation, it's area code 914-803-4131. That is 914-803-4131. We got an echo going on. That's not good. Is the echo on both, or is the echo just on Twitch? Let's see. Let's see if I could is it just on Twitch or is it on YouTube as well? Let's just see if we could troubleshoot that real quick before trying to figure all this stuff out. Waiting for the YouTube comments to say whether or not there's an echo there or not, or just on. Oh, it's on both. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you. Hello, Jenny Pie. Good to see you. Kevin, Brandon, Steve, John, Allison, Mike, Jeff, Aaron, Rick, CR, other Nick, is there another? Mike, Trucker John's in the house. Good to see Trucker John. Let me see if I can try and figure out why this is being echoey. Maybe it's in the sound settings. I don't know. Let's see. That's why. No, that's right. It should be. That should be correct. Oh, it's only on Aaron's side. There you go. All worried about nothing. Good to see you, Dean. Thank you for showing up. We got lots of stuff to talk about here on Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. Again, if you want to support the show, please remember to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, share the stream with your friends, and you can always do all the things you normally talk about. We'll get into all the different ways that we talk about. I'm sure Aaron in the chat will share. We'll share all the different ways you can share. Subscribing, Twitch. Being a member on YouTube, subscribing on Twitch, Venmo, buy me a coffee, go to liberaldan.com, buy me a cider, etc., etc., etc. So, thank you, Nick, for gifting another membership to the show. I appreciate you as always. That's one of the other ways you can support the show, gifting other people memberships. Of course, it's free on Twitch, twitch.tv/liberaldanradio to subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you anything. Just hook the two together, and you're good to go. So, a fox on both their houses. Where to start on this amazing story? If you ever watch Stefan on Saturday Night Live, it's just, this story has everything. And it really does have everything. And over the last 24 hours, and maybe even the last 2 hours, I've found out even more stuff. So I don't know how we're going to shove all of this into the show and talk about the other things I want to talk about. I want to be able to get on my Nerdy Dan stream after this stream, because I want to try a new version of Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is another thing that I usually play. So, but we're not gonna end this early just to do that. We're gonna give this topic everything we can, and then once we're done with that, a few minutes later we'll switch over to nerdydan.com on Twitch, and we'll do that as well. Anyway, so that's where to begin. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin here. This is the beginning of the story. This is the beginning. Let's switch to the alternate screen, shall we? We got so much to. Alternate screen isn't showing anything because I changed how things go. Let's see. Oh no, there we go. It's working now. Yay! It just took a second for it to figure out what the hell's going on. Let's reduce me a little bit. We don't need to be as big as I thought I needed to be. Anyway, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties simply because of the fact that I got a new thing to hook all my monitors together, and that's that was giving me some fits for a second. But here, this is the People magazine article. Taylor Swift fan defends booking 191 hotel rooms ahead of New Orleans tour stop, shares real plans for them, exclusive. So the basics of the spaces of the story: Rebecca Fox booked 191 hotel rooms at a New Orleans hotel ahead of the sold-out Eras tour dates. Thousands are expected to attend the, quote, Holiday House events organized from October 24th to October 28th. The convention was inspired by Fox's own experience at a first Eras Tour show. And let me preface all of this by saying, everything that I'm sharing on this podcast right now, on this episode, is, either A, reported by other people, so like posts from other people, messages of screen captures of messages sent by other people, news articles that are reporting on this issue, reporting on the happenings of this, and or my opinion and or allegations. There's been no charges filed. There's been no, I don't think, any civil suits filed on any of this stuff. It is all just allegations made by some people and opinions made by other people and reporting done by other people in the media. So take that as you will. And there's again, a very important reason to be saying that, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So I know if you're calling right now, let me switch back over here just to see real quick, just to make sure. No, okay, we're good. All right, so if you call in a second and I happen to be looking at the alternate screen, I don't see the call screening thing. Actually, I can probably just flip that. Let me do this one more time. Let me come back over here. We're gonna put this up here. That will make things a lot better because then I can see the call screening board and then go from there. Back to the alternate. Anyway, so the second North American leg of Taylor Swift's sold-out Eras Tour will be hitting New Orleans this weekend, from People magazine, and anyone who doesn't already live in the area has likely forked over a pretty penny for the travel accommodations ahead of the show. Rebecca Fox has spent more than a year trying to reduce the upfront costs of those traveling to Louisiana, and what they will have to pay purchasing a block of 191 hotel rooms at a Holiday Inn. The scope of the project has only grown in size since she's garnered interest from the community, enticing hundreds of Swifties to participate in her Eras Tour convention, dubbed Holiday House. The name was inspired by the lyrics of Taylor Swift's folklore track, The Last Great American Dynasty, spawned from her own experience seeing the award-winning star live at the start of the international tour. I've been a super fan of Taylor since the very, very beginning, and when the Eras Tour was announced, I knew the one thing I had to do was see it before anybody else did. Securing the tickets to the tour's opening night was just one step in the battle, though. Flights and hotels would easily cost her thousands of dollars, though she found workarounds, such as taking a train to Los Angeles, driving a rental car to the event, spending less than 24 hours in Phoenix for night one of the show. I didn't go to trade bracelets, I didn't go to meet anybody, I didn't get to take a photo outside the stadium. Missing out on the opportunity to meet and hang out with all other Swifties is partly what inspired her to create the Holiday House weekend of events. Now, that seems reasonable so far, yes? That seems like a reasonable, nice thing that somebody could do. You know, wanting to save people money, wanting to wanting to save people money, wanting to have, you know, meet and greets with other fans or get-togethers with other fans to be able to do lots of things. Josh says, I'm confused. We're going to get to why this is juicy in a second. I'm just giving the intro to the story. I live in New Orleans. I could have very easily just not have spent the money, stayed at my house, and driven back and forth to the Caesars Superdome. But I was like, no, I want to have an experience. I want to actually be immersed in this. I want to enjoy every moment of it for the whole 3 days that she's here. How can I do that? I selfishly plan the events I would want to go to. Before Swift announced the second North American leg of the tour, Fox admits she had a feeling the star would be stopping in New Orleans using various connections she's made around the city. She called the Superdome to inquire about Swift's possible performance. The stadium's response was so cagey, interesting use of words, that I kind of knew I immediately had to, that there was something that they were not saying, and so I started making plans to make the hotel block. It started just with 20 rooms at the Hyatt Regency, but then it quickly quadrupled in size until the hotel stated it didn't have any more rooms to accommodate the request, forcing her to move to a Holiday Inn. I fought really, really, really hard for every single room and every person, just so it's entirely clear. I've done this all at cost. Fox states, explaining that she's charged those coming to the convention at face value for the rooms in the block, asking only a $25 deposit. Concert goers to spend a lot of money. Everything we're doing is either Taylor themed or New Orleans themed. Fox explains, breaking down various events she's planned for the weekend, or she planned for that weekend. She organized numerous opportunities for Swifties to meet and interact with each other, including a bracelet making session, scavenger hunts, and more for those who purchase the tickets to the events through her Friendship Bracelet Project website. Before this, I literally only knew one other Swiftie in New Orleans. Now I have probably 40 really dear friends that live here and have thousands all over the world. Okay, so why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this story about Taylor Swift and all that good stuff? Let's go to the phones, because I believe this is who I believe this is. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, it's Julia from TikTok.
Hey, Julia, good to hear from you. Yeah, we initially had another person who was scheduled to come on, but for reasons that we'll get into a little bit later in the show, she backed out, and that's perfectly fine that she backed out. And you volunteered to come on, but you're on call, so if Julia disappears at any point in time, it's because she had to go to work. So, but thank you for calling in. On TikTok, Julia has been a wealth of information of all of the stuff that has been going on with this. So, first and foremost, let's just say again, just to be clear, everything that is being said here are things that are being alleged, or we're not stating them as actual hard facts. They're just the things we've heard about and the things that have been reported. So, how did you get involved? How did you start seeing all this stuff about the Holiday House, or as some are calling it, the Holiday Horror House? How did you start learning about this, and what got you so interested in making some content that would educate people about what the heck was going on with this story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is all, my personal opinion. Some of it is my personal experience, and then it's based off of documentation or Facebook comments made by Rebecca and allegations made by others. So basically, I got tickets to go see, Taylor Swift. At the time, it was so far out from when hotels would be booking. I ended up finding this Holiday House group where a hotel block was being coordinated. I joined, I paid the deposit, I paid the hotel, and I was in the group for the whole duration of the time that the group was created. The group was created on August 11th, and I joined it on August 12th. So literally pretty much from conception. And I noticed, how she was commenting to people in the comments, and how quickly it became a culture that was not very, in my opinion, friendly or healthy. And so I had a last-minute family emergency, and I had to reach out to Rebecca and see if I could get the reservation on my hotel just changed to somebody else that was in the group, and make sure that it was okay if somebody else went in my place. And I, continuously didn't hear from her. At this point, it was like 9 days from the day of the event when I finally was like, look, I need to hear back from you. I messaged her 3 times each, a day apart. And she kind of blew up on me in the sense of, she said, my emergency is not your emergency. And I did send her, I'm going to give full disclaimer. I sent her a message, and I don't even remember what I said, but I realized that it was a little harsh. And so I unsent it within 3 minutes. There's some claims that she has that I called her the B word in that message, and it's not true. But I know that it was a little bit harsher. I'm pretty sure, what the heck is wrong with you? Why would you treat me like that, kind of thing? And right. I was scared of my friend losing her room, so I quickly unsent it, because at this point she had already made threats of, canceling rooms or booting people out of the group, so then we wouldn't have access to information. And she was like, if you're going to continue to be B word, then I'm not going to help you. And I was like, okay. And then that is when I started kind of reaching out to some people, just warning them, hey, just be careful. When I would see them comment questioning her, I was like, hey, just be careful. She's not very kind. Or, and then the event happened, and my friends were there, and they were telling me everything that was going on. And I started hearing more stories, and that's when I started getting a little bold, and I was like, message me in the Holiday House group. And I heard people's stories, and people were so scared to come out and talk about it. And so that's when I was like, you know what, I'm just going to make a TikTok. I had no following. We'll see if it hits the right audience. And it just so happened to do what my goal was, is to get people to feel more comfortable sharing their experiences.
And that's great because, one person against a very, maybe vocal individual, let's say, might be, might be a little bit intimidated. But once you start seeing that everybody else is having the same problems and everybody else is standing up and saying, "Hey, what the heck's going on here?" That might get people more inclined to share their information, share their stories, share everything that was going on. So
yeah, exactly.
And so I'd like to give like the 30,000 foot view of what was supposed to happen versus what was going to happen. You can interrupt me and say if I've missed anything, because I'm sure over the course of this conversation, I'm sure I'm going to miss something. And also, I'm sure I will end the show, and afterwards I'm going to be like, God darn it, I knew I should have talked about this, and I didn't talk about this. But
yeah,
so there was like the friendship bracelet making thing. There were supposed to be gift bags that were given to people who attended. There was a pool party that was scheduled. There was supposed to be another event, I think, that was supposed to have a DJ. It was advertised as having a DJ, and then there was meals, I believe, that were supposed to be provided, I guess, at the Holiday Inn if you paid for them. I guess. I mean, there was the rooms were given, quote, as she said, at cost. And they weren't given. I mean, they were people could reserve the rooms, and so what happened? So first of all, I guess one of the things, what happened to people when people wanted to cancel their room, and then what have people said that when they tried to cancel the room, and what under what conditions would she release the room or release them from their obligation for the room?
Okay, so I'm going to kind of give like a little bit of a backstory. So basically we paid $25 per person in our room to her directly. And this was advertised, to help cover some of the front costs of the event, and also was supposed to come back to us in the form of a goodie bag. And that was always advertised as non-refundable, which I understand that. Absolutely. I can wrap my mind around that. I can get behind it.
Sure.
And
it's a deposit. It's a deposit for something in the experience, and you're getting something in return, i.e., the goodie bag.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, go on.
So everything that we filled out with like our Google form to get our name on the block, to pay our deposit, it was always advertised that was non-refundable. There was nothing that we signed. I just want to give this disclaimer that the hotel was non-refundable. So when people started needing their hotels canceled or changed, we were always told that we could not go through the hotel. That should have been a red flag to me. It really should have. We were told at all costs, do not call the hotel unless it is to pay for your reservation. And so people were going through her to get their rooms canceled. She made a post on March 30th that said that at that point, if people wanted a refund on their room, then they would need to give Eras Tour tickets to her, and that she would not refund hotel rooms unless they gave Eras Tour tickets in exchange.
Now, just to be clear, she was saying that she wasn't saying that y'all had to, if you want to get rid of your room, that you had to sell her the tickets, but she wanted you to give the tickets to her in order for her to release the room?
So she said the way that it was worded is, in the top part of the comment, it basically said to sell, like at the top part, but then it said there was another message that was like sell or exchange. Like the way it was worded as if it was like an exchange. Like, you give the tickets to me and I then will give you a refund on your hotel.
Interesting. So then, and then when you said you were trying to get it, did you eventually get out of your hotel via her, or was it transferred to somebody else, or or did you go through the hotel
So
itself to get?
yeah, so for me, I had she basically told me, do not contact me again or else I won't help you. Have a nice life. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, what do I do? And so I called the hotel and I was freaking out to the hotel worker. I felt so bad because I was like, I don't know, and and I don't want it to get canceled. And she was like, oh, it's not a big deal. We can just add a name onto the reservation. Like, that's really not a big deal at all. And so she fixed it for me. And it wasn't anything. My friends were able to get into their room. Everything was fine. Um, but she did, I don't know if you heard about this. She ended up later charging a restock fee for people that needed their rooms changed
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing the heirs tickets. So she had a $100 restock fee. And I do have people that have come forward and messaged me that they had paid her, Venmoed her personally $100 so that they could get refunded for their room, even though later on we found out from the hotel that the rooms were refundable up until like really close up to the event. Like, and she later, I think it was, I don't know the exact date, increased the restock fee to $300.
Mm. And there was no issue if you went to the hotel. That they would have just refunded the money, no problem, no questions asked, and the problem, I guess,
Yes.
I'm guessing her problem would be if we were trying to think from, if we're giving her the benefit of the doubt, which I'll let everybody else decide if they want to give her the benefit of the doubt on this. Is that if you did all the work to prepare a 191 room convention and you wanted to make sure that everybody was taking part of it, it was going to be as big as you wanted to. If those rooms were released back to the hotel, would she have lost those rooms from the ability to rebook
Yes.
them at that point?
That is my understanding. My understanding was that it then went back to the general public. And I have not seen the Holiday Inn contract, so I cannot confirm if that is true, but that is allegedly what people that were kind of involved in the planning process have shared with me, that it would just go back to the general public for sale.
And I could appreciate, if somebody would put all this work into doing all this stuff, that if they wanted to make sure that they kept the rooms for the purposes that they wanted to. But the thing is that not for $100 restock fee, not for a $300 restock fee, and not for Taylor Swift tickets, which went for much more than that. And as I understood it, she actually went to like all 3 nights of the concert. So, which there's an interesting side story about that I could that I could talk about. I had a friend of mine who is Facebook friends with her. She's blocked me on Facebook. But I have a friend of mine who was making a comment about, he thought it was unfair. This is well before the Eras tour, in New Orleans stuff was going on. He had made a comment that he thought it was unfair of people buying up multiple days worth of tickets because it's preventing other fans from seeing the show, yada yada yada. And she came in and defended, her doing that or whatever. And she got so offended that he was basically insulting her. That she was like calling him names like that he was a pedophile and stuff like that, like worrying about kids not being able to see Taylor Swift that makes him a pedophile, like really things that were really uncalled for. And we had a private conversation about that later about something else, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I did call her out on that as well. So I'm familiar with the way in which she does things, but yeah, she again then went to go see 3 nights of Taylor Swift, and I don't know if she used any of the tickets that people did. Do you know if anybody actually turned over their tickets to her or not, or?
I do know that there was, and that was in one of the screenshot threads that I sent you. There was her backstory is there was a girl who actually traded tickets in order to get a room, which that I can see. Like, you give, I kind of. So then she was then unable to go, and she was asking if she could get her ticket back so she could resell it, and give the room back, basically. Like, Rebecca could keep the room, she would be able to resell her ticket. back, like
Right.
write it back. And the messages were kind of interesting because it was like basically no. And yeah, wild. And then there was another person that she lost her job. I've actually become friends with her. So her story was she lost her job and she was trying to get a refund on the hotel and was trying to follow up and was initially not going to go. And in those messages, her tickets were sought after. She did not give them, but the person offered to, if they were like, worst case scenario, if I have to give you my tickets to get a refund on the hotel, and she ends up going, I guess we can stand outside the hotel and try to score last minute tickets. And I was like, no, like the fact that she was able to go to even consider that is saddening to me.
Right. So, and then in the stuff that I had gotten, now the ones that are those are your messages between you and her?
No, so a lot of these screenshots are various people's stories. So they have posted publicly their screenshots.
Okay.
And I have shared them throughout. So I don't know if there's like a good way for you to be able to pull. I don't know if you even want to pull them up, but
well, I mean, I have them up right now. So I'm switching over to the other alternate view, and like I don't know if they're going to be able to see as good as it would, person asked. This is a person asking for updates on whether or not the room was going to be canceled or transferred or not, and she just asking any updates in March of this year. You need to chill out, she says. You have a special situation, and I bent over backwards, but this is ridiculous. I am working a show in 139-hour weeks, and I have a meeting with whoever this week. If you want the ticket back for the room, I'll do that, but I'm not calling Dana every day of my life. I don't know who Dana is. I make zero commission off of any of this. Now, we're not claiming that, however many profits she did or not. And then I think the person brings up the request for the tickets. See, concert tickets, I've done that for free people is the only way I refund a room. And I'm meeting with whoever Dana is on Tuesday. And she goes, okay, thanks, let me know. She then says, life really sucks for everyone. I almost jumped off a bridge on my birthday. I hadn't worked for 11 months. We're all having a hard time. And the other person's like, it's been over a month. I'm not trying to change anything on you. You keep telling me next week, and then next week comes, it's pushed back again. I understand life sucks for everyone. I'm just trying to finish this deal before it's making me really depressed. I can't go, and I'm having a constant reminder. All I wanted from the beginning was to transfer the room to somebody else, which should have been, I guess, easy to do. But, Rebecca says, yes, because I'm really trying to help you by offering to transfer to someone else, but I'm not obligated to do that. And my lawyer agrees. She likes to bring up her lawyer, apparently. So if you want me to do a favor,
lawyer, we have heard no statements from.
Yes, lots of comments about her lawyer. I even got a lawyer comment in my personal chat with her as well. So if you want me to do you a favor, it's going to come when I have a free day and not at your beck and call. But you have the room on paper, which is what you wanted, so you have it and you can sell it as you see fit. And why don't you just go do that work and you can do it at your own convenience? That's what I've been asking. Do I need to get a transfer through you? It says my name on the paper, and it'll need to say her name. Yada yada yada. Let's just flip through that. Again, I've worked thousands of hours for people for free to make sure people have a place to say no. And she's complaining that she spends hundreds of hours for free, but in the People article that I read at the beginning of the show, she was saying that she was doing this to be selfish because she wanted to have these experiences when she went to her first concerts, and now she wants to have other people to have these experiences too. So she's doing it.
I would love to provide some insight about that People article.
Do you have insight about the People article?
Have these experiences. Yes,
I mean,
said that she
bring all the tea. We want all the tea here.
Yeah, so allegedly she actually The claim, like, she didn't get any pictures outside the Superdome. There's quite literally a photo of her outside the dome at Glendale, where she said that she, like, didn't get to meet people. She literally was the person that was one of the people there was like, no, she was interacting with people. You know, like, it was a very, the way that she sold the story to people was like almost, in my opinion, was like a sob story
Right.
about her experience in Glendale, even though she literally still had fun. And the whole friendship bracelet thing, like, I didn't get to exchange bracelets. It was just because it was the first night of the concert.
Right.
It was the first night of the tour. It wasn't something that was happening yet. It wasn't because people were being mean.
Fair. I mean, fair enough. And yeah, and you know, you're saying there's photo evidence of all that, and you know, if she's telling People magazine and other media sources that you know, she that she, you know, wasn't able to do all the stuff, and there's photo evidence to the contrary. I mean, that's kind of silly to say things when there's complete proof that contradicts it. But again, you know, some people like to make things up, and maybe she had maybe she forgot that she took the picture, right? I don't know. But like, just to talk about,
there was
like,
some friendships lost. I
what
think
was that?
there was some friendships lost. I think there was some friendships lost over this, because the person, one of the people that went to Glendale with her, when all of this stuff started coming out, and they saw the article and they were literally there, they were like, this is a lie.
Wow.
And so,
but yeah, I mean, you know, and friendships, I mean, there may have been friendships lost there, but the amazing thing is that there's also been friendships gained, because you were saying on some of your videos that, you know, you've made new friends from this that you never thought you would have made, because of all the people coming together in the camaraderie of having to deal with the Holiday House and all of the stuff that happened because of it.
exactly. And honestly, that is what has, you know, those people have, like, propelled me to continue to tell the story, despite so many fear and intimidation efforts of, you know, threatening to sue for defamation, and this constant lawyer being brought up. They're like, no, you tell the story, you tell the truth, and we will back you 100%.
Yeah. So, and let's see. So I have up on the screen then a comment from her. Honey, I don't care about your story. All I need to know is my story. I've done everything I was required to do, and I've gone above and beyond. That's still not good enough for you. Let's see. You're saying I have an attitude. Why? Because I don't want to continue to broker a hotel room for free. Tell me. I mean, it was not her choice was to not accept money. You know, charge extra for the rooms and charge for the convention or whatever, you know, for those rooms. I guess you didn't have. You didn't have to go to any of these other events when you booked a hotel room, right? Like, all you had to do was book the hotel room technically.
No.
And if you, or am I wrong on that?
Yes, but no, you're correct. We didn't have to. However, the culture of the group very quickly turned into posts that were being made that basically said that people weren't contributing enough and people weren't attending enough events, and this, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like what's the word? I can't even think of it. This, like, guilt tripping type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though we sent her, like, people sent her money for coffee, people sent her, like, throughout the planning process, like, Venmoed her money for
Right.
coffee and tips, and we all paid $25 per person to help fund this.
Right.
So when you think about a 191 hotel room block and you have 4 people in a room, I think she actually revealed a number around 880 people that actually stayed in the hotel. $25 times 880. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Let's see. This post continues to say, you're saying I have an attitude. Why? Because I don't want to continue to broker a hotel room for free. Tell me what I've done wrong here. I'm waiting. And when you realize it's nothing, an apology would be super, super helpful. And you better hurry before I go tell this girl not to buy your room. And then the person's like, I'm sorry it came off that way. I just want to end the whole situation. I never meant to be angry. Just the situation is hurting me every day. I want it to be over. I'm so sorry. She goes, hopefully it will get sold today or tomorrow. I'll know by Saturday who defaulted on the room, and I'll have more people waiting. I just made 2 big posts, yada, yada, yada. Go back and read our chats for months. I've done nothing but be kind to you. This is not my duty to sell your room. You decided you didn't want it at the last minute. I'm sure she didn't decide that she wanted it at the last minute. I'm assuming she had to do it at the last minute and as such couldn't go because, life happens. I've sold, again, in here, I've sold 880 other people hotel rooms and you're the only person that's making it effing complicated. She didn't sell the rooms. She organized the rooms. It's the Holiday Inn that sold the rooms, technically, right?
Yes.
Let's see. I think this is another bunch of messages. Go ahead and send the 25 per person, and it's not 25 per hotel room reservation. It's 25 per person. When you get a second to fill out the roommate info form, then the goodie bag info, then it can assign your room number. You'll be able to pay the hotel directly, and the person's like, "Oh my God, how exciting!" Yeah, finally glad I made it to you. So people are very excited about this. Holy cannoli, I'll send right now. It's not letting me select friends and family via PayPal. That's okay. She goes, that's fine. I have a business account. I don't think she has one anymore. We'll get to that later. I'll get back to your room number by the end of the day. I can't even express how grateful I am to you all. Room number in there. Welcome to the Holiday House. Just want to let you know I left a message with blank, but I haven't been able to book yet. I wanted to make sure I wouldn't lose my room. Morning, your email's good. She slammed. It might take her a week to get back. You'll have multiple DMs, blah, blah, blah. Of course, as long as you have a record of having reached out, once you're good, I don't anticipate making those texts until she gets through block 2, which won't be until next Friday. Hi again, sorry to bug you. I just wanted to check in and make sure I wouldn't have to be worried. You're fine. Oh, I screwed up and hit something wrong. Again, good morning. As you go through your list of the block, I wanted to let you know my Friday night room could be added with the flight prices and work school schedules. It makes more sense to fly on Saturday morning. I'm not sure if you can use the room that night, but just in case, I wanted to let you know. She goes, I'll see if somebody wants it. I can't guarantee. You paid for it already. Yeah, I already paid for it all good there. I didn't know if you had people who needed it Friday still. Now, and technically, again, this person could have gone through the hotel directly and then canceled one of the nights, right? And could have done that directly, but she was believing that she had to go through Rebecca, right?
Yes, and this girl actually had her room canceled by Rebecca. You'll get to those emails.
Oh, wow. So I think I have someone who wants it. Okay. Let's see. I'm just wanted to check in on the status of Friday night. You're trying to give up your Friday. What about Thursday? I definitely have you on the published block as Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You already paid for Friday. If it wasn't paid, I could reassign, but I'm not sure the hotel will refund. She's paid $1,500. I'll ask them Monday. Of course, she could have gotten a refund. She was meeting with them on Thursday. Haven't heard her back. Blah, blah, blah. Saw your post about rooms. Just wanted to follow up. We're tracking flights pretty closely. I just wanted to get a final word on Friday night room. Thanks. Yes, I'll sell it. As soon as I sell it, you'll realize I'm trying to sell it in this post, right? Because if that's not okay and you don't want to be patient, the answer is going to be no. Again, demanding that she's patient with her. And I mean, if you're doing business with somebody, and
if you look at the time,
right? Go ahead.
If you look at the time, this is like months. It's like months have transpired.
Right.
If you look at the dates.
Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is at July 20th at this point. Good morning. I wanted to check in to see if there's any word on the Friday night. Booked my flights. We are definitely arriving on the 26th. Just told me you changed your reservation to double and charged your dates. That wasn't what we agreed on. I don't have that double anymore. Got to say, I'm pretty annoyed. You can't just wait for me. Wait for you, but she claims on other posts that she can't be at the beck and call. And now instead of me getting to sell that room to someone else who deserves it, it goes back to the inventory. So now a Swiftie has to pay $829 for it, which I've heard is also not true. I think people were getting hotel rooms pretty close to it at the Holiday Inn for around the same rate that she was providing. Is that correct?
Yes, I also have an account of another girl whose room was actually canceled by Rebecca when she showed up, and it on the invoice from the hotel when they printed it out, it said in a comment, canceled by Rebecca, and she paid the hotel directly for a room, and she paid a very similar as what the hotel block was.
So she was able to stay. She was able to stay at the hotel still for the same price, for a similar price, comparatively. But the initial reservation was canceled, and the note says canceled by Rebecca according to the hotel.
Mhm.
Interesting. Let's see.
Yeah.
You didn't like my load. You made it 800 times harder because you wouldn't listen to directions. I literally have to drive down there now to fix this. I wish you would have responded after you saw my message over the weekend. I certainly wouldn't have created more work for you if I had any idea. And now I either lose those 2 nights out of my block, or I get to pay for them today because they're not letting me transfer rooms once they've been refunded. All caps, are you effing kidding me? I do not work weekends, but she does 189-hour work weeks. Was that in the People article, I think, or that was one of the messages? I don't know. So what is it? Do you work 189 hours a week, or do you not work weekends? And you're booking this thing, and there's this many problems. Sometimes things are going to jump up and happen, right? And then this is just a whole screenshot of rant. Saddest part is I had a buyer who was going to buy your Thursday and Friday and sending bracelets to you. You just effed us all. Just more rant. There you go. Let's see. I don't know what that was. I think this is just screenshots. I don't know if that's the same person. I apologize again for the headache I've created for you in the hotel block. I had no idea there had been any ill effects. If this had been communicated to me, I certainly would not have taken action. However, my last communication from Ms. Fox regarding the adjustment was June 22nd, when she informed me that she was in the process of transferring it and would provide an update. She was irritated that I'd reached out, so I was hesitant to contact her again. On July 20th, having gone nearly a month without no word from Ms. Fox, I contacted the hotel to check the status of my reservation. The woman I spoke to indicated that they had no record of my reservation and that the confirmation provider was not a valid confirmation number. As Blank had left the hotel after collecting all of my and the other hotel block's payment, I was concerned that I had been the victim of fraud. I reached out to her Saturday, expressing my concern and requesting an update on the status. She read my message but did not respond. Furthering my concern, I left 2 messages with the Holiday Inn in an attempt to merely confirm my reservation. Had I not heard back from yesterday morning, my next call would have been to the New Orleans Police Department. However, once you reached out to me, you reassured me that the reservation was valid and could be modified. My fears were laid to rest. Again, I had no idea modifying my reservation was going to cause any problem. However, upon learning that I modified the reservation, Blank began harassing me via Facebook Messenger, going so far as to threaten legal action. As such, I could no longer communicate with her and have only copied her here for proof that she has been informed of the facts of the matter. As my reservation was made directly with the Holiday Inn and my payment paid directly to your establishment, and as Blank threatened legal action, I must insist that all communication regarding my payment and my reservation remain now between the staff of Holiday Inn and myself. Please contact me. So yeah, I mean, that's smart. If somebody threatens legal action, it's smart to not deal with them directly. Let's see. This seals the deal. I've been trying to give Blank every opportunity to make up for her extremely selfish actions, including trying to get out of a financial obligation that she committed to at the expense of other people. Yada, yada, yada. Rather than being grateful for the $400 a night discount, she's being the biggest pain, and it wasn't a $400 a night discount from what I've seen from other places. I do get to decide who's on my master account, as stated in all of my paperwork that I received. If someone breaks the rules, I can kick them out of my block at my discretion, including making unauthorized changes to reservations. I'm sure that when we compare who spent the most revenue, my $500,000 is going to be more than her $1,500. Oh wait, $1,000. So interesting. She's welcome to pay the $829 rate directly to you, but she's not welcome at any of my events. I'd like her out of my block immediately. I also expect a call back from someone at IHG ASAP. And so apparently this is the email. This is an email that allegedly Rebecca Fox sent in response to that person, and I guess copied to the hotel as well. Correct?
Yes.
Now, if you're claiming that you're going to file legal action against somebody, why would you then copy that other person on this email instead of sending it just to the hotel? That's the problem with Respond All sometimes. You send emails to people you don't mean to send the emails to. Let's see. Now, this is a post from the group itself, the Eras Tour New Orleans 2024 Holiday House. I have the opportunity to purchase 20 suite tickets for Saturday, NOLA, and Night 2. They would include buffet food, private restroom, private entrance, swag bag for me, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages of your choice, private bartender, our Mardi Gras bead package, a custom umbrella, and boa at a second line to the Dome. That's brought home to you at Dome Clear plastic purse, 100 friendship bracelets for trading, and all of Saturday's events in the block as well. This would be $4,000 a person and would be due to me immediately. I can only do this if we get 20 people. I'd prefer 25 on the waiting list just in case. We'd be sharing the 40-person suite with some execs and VIPs from Hyatt Regency. Please comment immediately if interested. Did you do you know about anything about that? Like how did that go down? Or do you have any information about how that went down?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I do actually. Okay, so the suites. So there was a flyer also that it included all of the things like the Saturday events, et cetera, et cetera. So I've spoken to several people who participated in the suites. They paid $4,000 per person. At one point, she said, like in this post, she said that she had 20, and then in another post, she had said that she had 12. So there's a little bit of discrepancy, and it's just because it's, Rebecca's words don't have consistency in what is being said, throughout this whole period. The people that were in the suite, like, they said that the suite experience itself was really cool. However, it did not ultimately include everything that was advertised in there. So it was supposed to include Saturday events. There were people who had already purchased tickets to Saturday events that have yet to be refunded for those Saturday events. So they basically double paid those Saturday events because they paid $4,000 for the suite tickets, and then they had already paid for Saturday events. It was supposed to include a professional photographer. It did not. They would have had to have paid extra for that. It did include hair and makeup, but there was no option to forego the additional things included. So, like, men, like some of these women had their wives or their husbands, and they're not getting their hair and makeup done, and they don't want boas, like,
right.
So
well, some might, and no judgment if they do, but again, probably most wouldn't.
Yeah. Most of these, yeah. And so a lot of these, and then there was a one whose wife, I don't think her wife participated in some of that stuff, and so they didn't actually get everything that they paid for as advertised. And so there is, allegedly some back and forth between some of these people and trying to figure out what the cost of the actual suites were. And this is like stuff that I've heard from their experience on a live that they did with Cliff Notes gal. So.
Right. Interesting. So then let's flip back to here. So speaking of the people who did not get what they paid for, this Fox 8 Live, which is a local Fox station down here, local news station, woman who booked 191 hotel rooms retains lawyer as Swifties suggest they were scammed. Some Swifties have bad blood with a Metairie woman who booked 191 rooms at the Holiday Inn downtown for Taylor Swift's concert series last weekend. When Swift announced her tour stop, Metairie's Rebecca Fox jumped to blocked hotel rooms. She said she charged a deposit of $25 on top of the $500. Last week, Fox said the hotel agreed, which she promoted on social media. They were extremely apprehensive, blah, blah, blah. Fox said she did not upcharge for rooms nor profit off the bookings. But when some Swifties arrived at the convention, because I think she said she had to call it a convention in order for her to get the rooms together. But when some Swifties arrived for the convention, other events promoted by Fox, they were surprised and disappointed. Everybody works really hard for their money, and anytime someone is promised a product they are purchasing for an event, they should be given what they are paid for, says Megan Trainum, who came from Memphis for a concert. Trainum said she traveled with her daughter. They did not stay at the Holiday Inn, but said they paid for multiple events hosted by Fox's business, the Friendship Bracelet Project. The ballroom was completely empty, and there were like 3 vendors. I asked them if we were in the right place. They were like, we have no idea. Trainum said that despite the letdowns, her family still had fun in New Orleans. Attendees said other events Fox promoted included a DJ dance party that did not live up to the billing. The DJ originally booked for the event said that despite multiple inquiries, Fox never confirmed the performance. I think continuing to take people's money pushed the sales of these events, knowing it would not be as advertised. I listened to enough podcasts. It sounds like a scam to me, said New Orleans DJ Warm Advice. Fox said in a text message that she has retained an attorney and declined several requests for an interview. She texted that her attorney is out of the country and wants her to wait before giving a statement. She posted to her Facebook page, "I know I failed. I admit it, I failed. Dozens of people are now demanding refunds from Fox and the Holiday Inn. When Fox 8 went to the hotel, security turned a reporter away, declined to provide anyone for comment. IHG, the parent company of the Holiday Inn, did not respond to questions. Meanwhile, one Swift fan in Texas who could not attend last weekend but had friends who stayed at the hotel said she has concerns about Fox making people whole, but also for Fox's mental health. Again, I'm saying, this is a quote from the article, not something that I'm saying. There is an aspect of grace that needs to be had and forgiveness, said Julia Smith. Spokesperson for Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill said her office has not received complaints about this event. The AG is looking into claims of hotels canceling reservations and rebooking at higher rates. And it's not a very flattering picture that Fox 8 decided to use for Miss Fox in that article. But yeah, someone in the chat, Kimchi goes, failed equals scammed. That's what Kimchi in the chat says. So, I mean, there are people who have said that they firmly believe that, in their opinion, that she's a scammer. There are other people who have said that simply, that maybe she just got over her head and started drowning in everything, and then responded to the people who were upset very poorly, as we have seen in some of these messages, and as you have conveyed it, as other people have conveyed in other videos on this topic. Have you heard about anybody complaining to the Louisiana Attorney General yet, or is that just something you're not aware of? Okay.
Yes, I have. I do know that there are several people who have filed with the Louisiana Attorney General, and I know that it is being actively investigated at this point. I also, kind of to piggyback off of that article and the whole concept of is this something that she got in over her head? There is, documentation that she knew that some of these events would be a flop, in
right.
moderator chat things that I've seen personally. And so if it is a case of got overhead, if there was transparency and honesty up front, saying hey, these events aren't going to be able to happen, I'll happily refund, I think then people wouldn't lean towards the whole, did we get scammed?
Right. That makes sense. And then these screenshots that I'm about to share are screenshots that I got from my beautiful wife. Let's flip back to here real quick. This is again from the Eras Tour New Orleans group. Because apparently once people started realizing that they weren't getting what they got, they started demanding refunds. And if you have a business account on PayPal, or if you're doing business and selling something that's not friends and family, you can do a dispute with PayPal. That's why, for example, when I recently sold something online to somebody, and I made sure that that we took PayPal as goods and services, and then I made sure that the item has a tracking number that's shipped, and I made sure that it's insured, because yes, it's very well possible that PayPal could get a chargeback if if you don't follow all those steps and do get all your I's dotted and T's crossed. But Rebecca says here, please stop disputing via PayPal. I'm begging. I'm putting up the refund sheets as fast as I can and going down them and refunding people and shipping people whatever as quickly as I can. But PayPal is charging me a $15 fee every single time someone disputes something, and they've already been paid hundreds of dollars in these fees. I would rather pay to y'all. I'm negative thousands in every account. But I am currently mortgaging my home to make up the difference. This is a process that's not instant. I'm going to have to wait for some big money to come in from that mortgage before I can continue to pay. I wasn't lying when I said I spent every penny received on this, and I have receipts for that. I would just come out in due time, but for now I'm just trying to stop hemorrhaging and focusing on not losing money in fees. Please help me help you. I cannot continue to refund if all of my accounts are frozen. Venmo is already frozen, and Cash App is frozen. Due to one person sending $500 requests 8 times a day, which I think I've seen a video on that basically where the person shows that it wasn't the case, or I might actually have a screenshot of that as well. Let's see. My PayPal is over 10,000 negative. It's likely to get shut down soon, and everyone's going to have to get paper checks because I don't have another way of paying people. I'm not a scammer drinking cocktails in Tahiti, guilt-free. And usually my whenever I saw that, my initial thought was, that's exactly what a scammer would say. But, I'm someone who tried so hard to do a thing and failed and literally had to use quarters to buy lunch today. I'll provide documentation of everything and several legal documents sent requesting better documentation. I'm trying so hard to make this right, but apparently there are a lot of people who don't believe that this has been made right. Again, it's me. I'm the Cash App dispute. Yet again, more lies. 8 times a day. LOL, please. Quit wasting our time with more pathetic excuses and do what you said you would do. Otherwise, quit wasting our time with more BS. I don't care how broke you are. You sure weren't concerned with how broke you caused us to be with your lies. Attaching picture to prove you lied again. See, when you're honest, you can post the proof immediately. And this is coming from the person who sent the request, and it shows... a request that was made Monday, Sunday, Friday, and November 7th. Those were not done 8 times a day. Those were done on different days. But again, multiple requests, but yes, still. Go ahead.
She made me laugh with her comment where she said, you know what, I'm going to keep requesting every single day.
Let's see. And here's another picture just of a more close-up of that. They weren't sent all in one day. They were sent on repeated days. Now, so again, again, she's not been charged with a crime by the AG or the district or any of the local district's attorneys or whatever however you want to call it in the plural. I don't know if there are any civil suits filed yet. To my recollection, there have not been any civil suits filed yet. I'm sure people are trying to wait either for their disputes or wait to see if she's going to make good on what she's claimed she's going to do. And again, all of these, everything here, again, just to repeat, is either us talking about things that other people have said and showing what other people have said, or talking about your personal experiences, or just our opinions, and or the facts will come out as they come out, and we'll see. And the audience is free to make up their own minds as to how they feel about this person. But I did talk about. Let me flip that other page back up real quick. I did talk about my personal conversation with her, and because again, she way back in the day, back before in the before times, before COVID, when everything was normal, there was an event that was put on by Ms. Fox. And it was about it was catering to people who have celiac disease. My wife has celiac. We have friends who have celiac disease. I believe she said that she was either had celiac or gluten intolerant, but there are questions as to whether or not that's true. And so so I said, so in that event, I won 3 raffle prizes. I put in my tickets to try all these sort of things. I got 3 raffle prizes. One of them, I'm pretty sure I got that day. It was like a basket from some vendor. I got that basket that day, brought it home. Cool, that's fine. The other 2, one of them was some social media stuff that they were consulting that they would do for a month's worth of social media consulting done by one of her businesses, of which she has had many. We'll show that in a second too. And then the other one was a month's worth of free food from some place that provides, pre-made meals that are, safe for people who have celiac and other dietary restrictions to eat. So fine. And again, this event was pretty much right before COVID-19. And so it happened, and I don't remember the exact date, but shutdowns pretty much happened soon thereafter. And I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt. I was willing to, give her time or whatever to make good on what happened. And she claims she sent me a questionnaire to fill out, I think, about the social media stuff. I never received it. Again, I was trying to be, and basically I just put it off as, well, I put in some money for raffle tickets. I didn't get what I want, what I thought I want. I didn't lose that much money in the whole thing because the raffle tickets weren't that much. And, well, it is what it is. But then I saw her having that back and forth that I discussed earlier with my friend and his comments about people being unfair to other people and whatever. I don't necessarily have an opinion on that either way. I can understand his point. I can understand her point. Super fans might want to see a show as many times as possible. I can understand the idea that, but maybe that gives people who want to see but can't go because you've bought all the tickets or you've used up more tickets than one night. Fine, whatever. It's up to people to decide whether or not what their opinion on that would be. But as we were discussing, let's go back to here. She goes, to me, maybe I could do some video or logo editing if that's helpful to you. Because I was thinking that she was doing like promotions of social media. That was what I thought the prize was, like promoting your social media. And this was like right before, when we were having this discussion, this was like right before I was going to have a very big guest on my show, i.e. Hal Sparks. And a lot of the people in the chat right now are all fans of Hal Sparks, sparklers. One of the reasons that my podcast grew as much as it did is because of Hal Sparks and him coming on my show, and all of the sparklers also becoming Danimals. But then she realized in the middle of the conversation that I was also having the argument with her on this other person's page, and she then is like, wait, you realize I'm the same person that you're attacking in Kevin's post, right? She goes, this is being really silly. It's not zooming. Like, it's zooming the thing but not the image. That's very weird. Anyway, she goes, I don't think you want or need anything from me, which is a weird statement to make because I want what I paid for in my raffle ticket. I was like, I don't consider what I did attacking. I'm just making a point. She was like, I was going to honor something that I had a 1-year expiration that is stated in print in multiple places. I never saw that. But I'm not interested in providing free work now. Clearly, we don't agree, so I don't think you would like any of my work I performed anyway. And it may very well be true that I might not have liked any of the work that she would do anyway. I mean, I could do all my video editing. I have a wonderful graphic designer as a wife who could do graphic design for me as needed. She did my logo. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have thought anything that would have been better than what my wife would do. And so then I go, so you call people pedophiles and lack the integrity by, as I said in this post, because I was annoyed, scamming people with fake raffles. Got it. And she goes, want the copy of the poster at the event on the website where it said you had 1-year expiration, want to see the copy of the certificate. I was like, you can't claim a 1-year expiration and then drag your feet on following through, which is pretty much my opinion of what she did in that particular thing. And then later on in the conversation, she also threatened to tell her attorney about anything. So tried to try and scare people and scare me into not talking about this publicly because I guess she wouldn't want her many businesses to be harmed by this. And as I say that, I'm bringing up a search result. Oh, it says warning, my session will expire in 18 seconds or whatever. So here is a list of all of the businesses that Rebecca Fox has been involved with. She's agent and manager of Storage Heroes LLC, agent and manager of Fox It Up LLC, agent of New Orleans Showgirls LLC, agent and manager of Miss New Orleans LLC, agent of Quatrefoil Content Creation LLC, which is, that's the business that was supposed to give me the month's worth of stuff in the raffle. Agent of Fox Automotive LLC. I don't know if I count the secretary one, so we could skip that one. Agent of COVID Care LLC. She's secretary, director, officer of Heights Finance Corporation and Heights Finance Company, which is in Greenville, South Carolina, agent of the Friendship Bracelet Project, LLC. And I would click into these to show information. This information is publicly available in the Louisiana Secretary of State's website, which is GoBiz, spelled G-A-U-A-X, B-I-Z, but which it then brings you to the Secretary of State's website. I would show you that it does have personally identifiable information on there, but even though it's all publicly available in these business filings, I'm not going to show those, but several of these LLCs are not in good standing with the state either, and you can see that if you do the search as well. So lots of businesses that are going on, lots of things that were Lots of things that have been denied by the Secretary of State, some of them through inaction, some of them through revocation, as if you felt like searching for it, you could. But she also, there was one thing that was brought up, I think, in the second article that I read, talked about that there was going to be a second line from, I guess, maybe the hotel to the Superdome or something like that. Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she organized the second line. You're from New Orleans, so I'm going to tell you this number and you will probably cackle. She kept telling all of us that it cost her $10,000 to $20,000 per night for the second line.
Okay.
And that everybody had to buy a ticket. It was $35 a person for hotel block members, and I believe, do not quote me on this, $45 a person for non-hotel block guests.
Okay.
That this was something that she even had to buy her own ticket for, which I find funny if you're the organizer of the second line, but whatever. So the second line happened. The brass band was there. Allegedly, I was not there, so I cannot confirm. But the second line did not have the barricades. There was no police escort. From my understanding, it was a blackout weekend. So second line permits were not being given unless it was like extenuating circumstances, like planned ahead, or it was a funeral or wedding that it was planned way far in advance. The permits were not applied for until like 3 days before the event on October 22nd. This is public record. Also, anybody can call the city and confirm, if these permits were approved.
Right.
Online, it appears as if they were never approved. And so she actually had people walking on the sidewalk. So people are angry because they're like, you made us pay $35 to walk on a public sidewalk.
Right. And that's not how second lines work. Second lines work, you close off the streets, you have police escorts, you have the brass band playing, and you walk down in the middle of the street. You're not walking down sidewalks. So that is clearly not a second line. So yeah, you're absolutely. Of course, my wife in chat goes, Dan's not from New Orleans. He moved down here in '94 or something like that. But we'll let it slide. I've been here my whole adult life, but my wife likes to pick on me for being a so-called Yankee. But in Louisiana, sometimes some places in Louisiana, anything north of Interstate 10 is a Yankee. So it is what it is. Anyway.
Yeah.
So. And then so that is also another interesting thing that took place, is that let's go back to here. I think this is going back in time a little bit to cover some of this. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important, but there's a few last minute touches I really, really want to add to make this week special, and I'm a little short. I've already come out of pocket about $20,000, which I didn't want to do, but hey, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing for all of us, right? Anyway, if not, no worries, but if this group has helped you in any way, or you want to contribute a little extra for what we call lagniappe in Louisiana, lagniappe just means a little extra, my info is below. I promise y'all every penny will go to making the last few surprises that I'm just a little short on making happen. Rather than cry about it, I figured I would ask for help. Again, if you can't, no worries. Hakuna Matata, as they say. There she goes. A couple of things. Does anyone have a portable phone charger and a strapless bra I can borrow for the concert? Second line is starting soonish, so check your email for those instructions. We also desperately need volunteers, so let me know if you are available. We are several short today. Let's see. This is what the goodie bag was supposed to look like. I'm making them. Wait, go ahead. Go ahead.
That was the biggest thing with the second line. It was like this secret time, and you didn't get an email until like right before, and there were people who like were not able to go because the time was not like advertised way in advance. And allegedly she was saying that the reason why it couldn't be advertised is because she didn't want people from the public to come and join, because then she would get in trouble with the city. But I'm like, I just can't understand, because I called the city myself and I asked if these second line permits were approved, and they said no. Right.
So it's my opinion that allegedly, as I said on one of your videos, allegedly is the word of the day, that she probably didn't want to publicly advertise because she didn't want people in the city getting wind that she was doing a potentially against the law, against the rules second line in a weekend that apparently was blacked out for having no second lines. But see, this is what your goodie bag supposed to look like. I'm making them myself, heading them out. I can ship things that were missing also. Not pictured body glitter because all 1,300 of them are missing. So I guess, that's a lot of money for body glitter. Pictures of packages that arrived late. Let's see. And then she goes, I'm just getting off work. I'm driving home. I don't want you to think I forgot about you. I worked overnight last night, totaling expenses. I have receipts totaling over 88 grand, and we're not even finished totaling them yet. The bill for the hotel alone was 44 grand, which did not include hotel room revenue, strictly catering. I've also been fully transparent and continue to do so regardless of whether or not you guys hate me. I'm going to post these as soon as I'm finished, and then when you've had a chance to digest it, I'll explain to you some of what happened. There's still things that are totally my fault. I don't want it to look like I'm not taking accountability. I know you guys have a right to a partial refund, some of you total refunds, but I just ask you wait a little longer. I will make this right, blah, blah, blah. Even after, I just want to crawl into a corner. She said she has good intentions. You know what they say about the road to hell, lined with good intentions. Let's see. Regardless, for those of you sending me messages telling me that I need mental help or to kill myself, which I don't think that's called for, regardless of what you feel about her, there's nothing I could have ever done, remotely done, that deserves these kinds of comments or this kind of treatment. I'll agree that telling her to kill herself is not something that's nice, but, perhaps the other things might be called for depending on their experiences with her. I didn't purposely plan to have bad events. I spent a year of my life exclusively on this. Obviously, I wanted it to be nothing but the best it could be, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't have ever purposely spent a year of my life on a bad event. Everything was lined up to be great until the hotel staff switched on me for the 5th time. Those funds disappeared, yada, yada, yada. Lots of other excuses. We had accommodations. We all had a place to stay. We were all together. The events fell short. I'm so deeply sorry. I promise you no one is more upset than me. This is a statement to show who I really am, how much I love Taylor, and worked so hard for it all to fall apart at the literal last minute. For now, I'm taking my posters down, my friendship braces off, and repainting my nails, yada, yada, yada. Good night, y'all. Here's an itemized list from the Holiday Inn. Just block 2 people. If you are blocked and banned from this group, your tickets and rooms will be refunded. I don't have a reason other than you're being defamatory. This is my place, and I make the rules. You can disagree with me and state publicly that it's fine, but I'll repeat, if you call me specifically a name publicly, you're gone. I have the right to not read slander about myself in my own groups. And now there's an interesting concept here. I'm not a lawyer, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, or any other Holiday Inn, or even the one for the Holiday Horror House. But if people bought things from her, and then reservations for the party or the pool party or the food or the rooms or whatever other tickets were available, and then based off that information they bought plane tickets, my understanding of the law is that if she then canceled whatever simply because she was called a bad name and these people couldn't get a refund on their airplane tickets, there's a legal principle called detrimental reliance. So these people who bought tickets based on their belief that they were going to be attending these events and whatever, and then if she ended up canceling those participation in those events and they purchased a plane ticket specifically to go to these events, then detrimental reliance could very well kick in that particular circumstance. Just saying. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Don't pretend to be a lawyer, but I've actually had experiences with detrimental reliance on this. Let's see. If people are posting incorrect information or breaking rules, they've been told multiple times, over 100 times not to do so. Don't call the front desk. Don't add your name to the closed parking spreadsheet. Don't change the name on your room. Don't ask the hotel for a refund. Then yes, I'm going to set it straight. These people breaking the rules have resulted in other people losing their rooms, getting charged higher rates, having reservations altered, losing parking spots, etc. This goes for all of you talking shit about me and other groups as well. You don't have to like me. I don't care if you like me or not. All I care about is the people. They're safe, have quiet places to say, blah, blah, blah. I would start watching what you say because you're really going to hate me when your breakfast at midnight ticket is refunded to you. You're not invited to the second line or participate in the surprise. We have good, nice people, blah, 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 blah. So basically threatening because people are mean to her in this post that she is going to cancel the events that they paid for. Let's see. There's another written public notice. If you call me rude, let's see. Oh, that's another screenshot, blah, 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 blah. Some depressing news this afternoon. A few people could not wait for me to process the refunds and called the hotel and had them issued directly because I hadn't transferred the name yet. Those rooms were sold to the public and are gone forever. Heartbreakingly, some of the 10 to 12 people I booked may not have a place. I'm doing what I can to use my remaining comps as roommate rooms. I'm also working with local blah, blah, blah. Please just drop your name below if you were booked in the last 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Seriously, right now, this is what happens when you help a bunch of other people get codes. Someone help your girl out. This is also legit proof that verified fan is garbage because I'll go toe-to-toe with anyone on lyrics or Era's Taylor Trivia. It might be because I've already gotten to go. Other people, pre-sale was not through Ticketmaster. I'm more than a little sad right now. Of course, the wait list was only available. I tried to see if I could snag some tickets. At the end when they open up the final seats that usually happen when you have a concert, you book concert, they put the stage up. Once they realize they don't need certain seats, they make those seats available. Those seats were made available to verified Taylor Swift fans. So you had to register yourself as a verified Taylor Swift fan earlier on in the process. That process closed, I think, in June. So there was no way that people could come in and buy those last minute tickets unless they were specifically pre-approved to be on that list. Because I have a friend of mine who tried to get tickets and was not able to come because he couldn't get the tickets. But I was not able to get into the thing because, again, I couldn't prove that I was a verified fan, which is fine. Perfectly fine by me, but... I included
that screenshot, and I saved that screenshot because it is very interesting to me. It demonstrates a lot when I go look at that post and I see the comments, because that was made on August 8th or something.
Right.
And in the comment section, she states something along the lines of, hopefully I can just trade rooms in the hotel block for tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And it, to me, in my opinion, this is all opinion, it really helps me my own understanding of the potential intention behind things.
Right. That's fair enough. Now, in these other pictures that you're sharing, this right here, is this a picture of what people paid? Did the people pay like $150 for or something for the food? Am I right in that number, or am I wrong on that number?
Okay, it varied. Okay, so one of them was like $100, one of them was $125, and the Sunday breakfast was $150. It was later decreased to $75 with the promise of the difference being refunded. My friend group booked this Sunday breakfast for $150 a person. My friend group still has not gotten their refunds for the difference, so they paid $150. And when they showed up to this breakfast, it was continental hotel breakfast.
So not even a cooked breakfast, a continental breakfast. Or like not even like a whole spread, just continental breakfast.
It was like what you would get at a Holiday Inn that offered the free hotel breakfast, or like the really cheap, like $10 some Holiday Inns charge for it, like the eggs that are like crappy, the bacon, the dried biscuit with jelly and butter. Like it was a hotel breakfast.
Yeah, so basically, I think we saw one of these pictures here had just those little, I guess, trays where the eggs and the bacon and sausage or whatever would be served in this little thing, and not a full on, not something that one would expect to pay, $150 and get this. I mean,
in the city that has literally the best food.
Right. Yeah, I mean, New Orleans has great food. If you're promising a New Orleans Taylor Swift experience, in my opinion, you should be providing New Orleans type food for your breakfast, especially if you're charging $150 a pop and not bacon and eggs.
And that's what was advertised, a New Orleans style breakfast. So.
And so it's advertised, so no wonder people want a refund. Your mom in the person's username is your mom. In the chat, she goes, I was at night 1 second line. We 100% played $35 a person to walk down the sidewalk. So there you go. Someone else just verifying the fact that their second line was just walking down the sidewalk together. Let's see. And then somebody posted something. My daughter's petitioning for the 22 hat for night 2. Is it possible to get the group support too? We're finishing her video tonight. She's 12, battling a brain tumor since she was 4. Her Make-A-Wish for Eras Tour 22 was denied due to lack of funds or whatever. So her 11-year-old's bestie went to her and got her Denola night 2. Someone says, as a fellow brain tumor survivor, I hope she gets it. Rebecca Fox goes, unfortunately, we've had like 40 people ask, and I just can't support everyone. If one of the admins or moderators wanted to give them the amount of time and work that we put in this group, fine. I advise you to start your own group and just share it with us and let us know. But I can't have any kind of post like this unless it's someone who has over like 50,000 participation points in this group. And it is my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that not only did she deny this person's ability to, I guess, kind of have this pushed in the group to try and get this young child with a brain tumor to get, the hat, and that Rebecca Fox, I think also, and you again correct me if I'm wrong, she also was advocating and trying to get people to get her the hat because she felt that she deserved the hat for all of the work she did over the weekend. And also, for those who don't understand, explain what the hat is, because I don't even know if I fully understand it.
And this is going to be the last thing I'm able to say before I have to go, but
Sure.
so basically Taylor Swift gives, during the song 22, during the set, she gives the hat that she wears to typically a child. Sometimes it is a sick child or a child who has gone through something traumatic, like in their life, like parents died, et cetera, et cetera. She gives them the hat, she gives them a hug, and she kind of dances with them and sings to them for a little bit, and then, she goes back to performing. And so Rebecca had her moderators allegedly create this petition and for her to get the 22 hat. She is a 42-year-old woman, but yes, petition for her to get the 22 hat. This mother in specific, commented, was the only mom who commented on there. And, that was the response that she got publicly. Like that she hadn't participated enough in the group in order for her to condone her even adding for it, even though it was on a completely different night than what Rebecca was wanting.
Right. So there would be a different hat on different nights. She wanted one of the hats, and again was not. Look, and it's fine if you don't want people. I mean, I have groups, and I don't want people necessarily sharing, stuff that's not related to the group in the group and whatever. But still, the whole idea, the idea that you think you're more deserving of it than perhaps this sick kid, that seems. That's at least my take of what the wording was. That seems kind of
it's like
cruel.
Absolutely what Swifties, it's completely against what, and I know people hate on Swifties a lot, and truthfully we are like a very justice type of individual, like I heard stories that New Orleans crime rate was so low, and people in New Orleans were like, Swifties need to come back.
Oh, Swifties were great in the city. They brought much more money than we thought. Haven't heard much of any complaints of any of the Swifties that came down. Everybody loved it. Yeah, it would be great to come back if they came back because again, our city is so nice. Like, we hate the Atlanta Falcons, but we will be super nice to Atlanta Falcons fans when they come to the city. Before you go, I want to thank you very much for calling into the show. Thank you so much. I know you have to go. Just, do you want to shout out any of your socials that you might want anybody to follow if they want to keep up or follow the saga even more? Because there's going to be more stuff. I'm sure I forgot to bring up some things, and I'm sure there's more things that'll be coming. So, and if there's a big update that comes from this, I'd love to have you back. But what are your socials before you have to take off?
So the only thing that I'm really public on, my Facebook and Instagram I've kept private because I've got pictures of my kiddos on there. But
Sure.
Is my TikTok, and that's at jump4js. And speaking, I don't know if this is allowed, but speaking of the little girl with the 22 hat, we are running like a little campaign because of how she was treated to try to get her to Vancouver. So that's in all of the details for that is in my TikTok as well.
Yeah, and if you want to email me that at some point, I'll be more than happy to share that either tonight or whenever you send it on the next podcast as well. I'm sure people would love to help out as well. So again, thank you so much for being on the show. We typically don't cover this type of stuff, but I mean, the tea was so good, and it's a local story. I have connections to it because of what happened with the raffle drawing, and I was like, once I was like, okay, one of the other creators creating content in this wants to come on, and it just spread even more light than what I could do. I very much appreciate it. You have a great rest of your night. I guess you have to go to work, whatever. But again, I super appreciate you coming on the show and spending this much time. Again, have a great night, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, bye-bye. All right, and so without further ado, let's go ahead and hold up. Let me get this up and running. Okay, yeah, this story was just way too good for me to not cover on the podcast, and I understand that there are a lot of people who may very well been like, I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Why should I care about this? But I mean, this is more than Taylor Swift, which is kind of big. I mean, Taylor Swift in and of herself is huge and is a big media presence. But the fact if this could have been happening with any concert, with any fan base, with anybody that's coming around, with whatever. Oh, I forgot to bring up the other two things I did want to bring up. One of the articles said that she loves to do trivia, and I have it on good authority that she may very well not be somebody who is very honest when it comes to trivia, i.e. she may be cheating to win a trivia. So no wonder you love it if you are in fact cheating, which people have alleged that she has done in other places. As Josh says, Swifter Grifter. That's a great title. The Swifter Grifter. And of course, there was something else that I forgot to ask, but she had to go anyway. There was something else about Elves on the Shelf that she was potentially involved with. I don't know. But again, you could search up the name Rebecca Fox on the Louisiana Go Business site to find out all the filings that she's had, all the filings that she's missed, and if again, I don't know if I'll have another show on this. If I do, something probably will have to be big as it comes out. But if not. This has been an interesting story to cover. But we have other stuff to talk about today, don't we? Donald Trump and Trump Watch, with the Trump Watch stuff that we've done. Again, we have been doing a Trump Watch bit ever since he was elected president. First and foremost, he keeps saying that he has a mandate. There is no mandate. He's just dropped below 50% of the popular vote. The difference between his vote total and Vice President Harris's total at this point is only like about 2 million votes. Biden had much more of the popular vote. Overall, he had 81 million, first of all, and second of all, the difference between Biden and Trump's total in 2000 was much greater than the difference between the total between Trump and Harris. If anybody had a mandate, it would first of all be Barack Obama, and of course hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite, because they never claimed that Obama had a mandate to do whatever it is, even though he had more than double the amount of electoral college votes than John McCain did in 2008. And they immediately, before he even took the oath of office, they were working on plans on trying to prevent everything that he wanted to do. And he had to have 60 votes in the Senate to be able to get his major things passed. And he only had 60 votes in the Senate for a very short amount of time, even a shorter amount of time if you consider days off, and only looked at the days that they had in the Senate to work. If you want to talk about, Ronald Reagan absolutely had a mandate. He won 49 states. If Donald Trump had won 49 states, sure, I at that point would be able to say it sucks, but he has a mandate to do whatever it is. American people voted and they chose and they gave him 49 states. No, Donald Trump doesn't have a mandate whatsoever in this election. Donald Trump, Biden had a much bigger mandate He had fewer electoral college votes, but he still had more of the popular vote. Again. But they didn't say Biden had a mandate. So if they're not going to admit that Biden had a mandate, if they're not going to admit that Obama had a mandate, there is no way in hell that Donald Trump currently has a mandate. Fair? I mean, I think that's a fair statement. But then again, what do I know? There's also interesting things that are in the conversation of Donald Trump's presidency. They were like, at some point, Donald Trump was, or these senators were winning this race and they lost, or at some, whatever, like as proof that somehow because you're leading at some point in the night, that means, and then you lose that lead, it means the election was stolen from you. So, I could simply make the same sort of comment. Harris clearly was ahead at some point in Pennsylvania. She clearly was ahead at some point in Wisconsin. She clearly was ahead at some point in Michigan. But guess what? She lost that lead. If I would use Republican conservative MAGA logic, that I could then say, oh, Harris had the presidency stolen from her. Because it's the same logic that they use, right? But again, they won't use it. They don't agree with it because hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite, especially if you're an elected official. But there are people who are not elected officials who are out there trying to claim that Donald Trump has a mandate, but will never admit that Obama had one, that Biden had one, etc., etc. But let's talk about some of the people that he's picked, shall we? I walked in from letting my dogs out. And I was letting my dogs out, letting them frolic, whatever. I came back in, looked at the TV, and the TV said, Donald Trump picks Dr. Oz to be in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. What? I mean, I don't know if that's more ridiculous or less ridiculous than Matt Gaetz. I mean, I think Matt Gaetz is clearly ridiculous. Putting the vaccine denier and vaccine hoax person, RFK Jr., who said anti-Semitic things about Jewish people, how the virus was created to not target us as Jewish people. Clearly an anti-Semitic statement. We've talked about that on the show before. Again, that's clearly a horrible pick. Tulsi Gabbard, a Russian tool, a Russian hack, who went and visited Syria, without permission, to go have a little, tete-a-tete or whatever. Horrible pick. Dr. Oz? I mean, how many, diet pill scams does Dr. Oz have to sell before people not take him seriously? Right? I mean, I know he liked Dr. Oz when he ran for the Senate and lost. But, the idea that he picked Dr. Oz to run these two vital things, Medicare and Medicaid, should scare the ever-living crap out of anybody who's currently on Medicare and Medicaid. Because what the hell is he going to do? What experience does he have in that particular area? I mean, yeah, he's Dr. Oz, but that doesn't mean you're qualified to run Medicare and Medicaid. You should have some experience like running like insurance companies and stuff like that. I mean, not to say that people who run insurance companies are good, but you should at least have some familiarity with insurance above and beyond accepting it as a doctor. Right? So again, another terrible pick by Donald Trump. Also, Linda McMahon, wife of former CEO and owner of WWE, formerly WWF, formerly WWF, that he I guess bought or whatever from his dad. Linda McMahon as the pick for being in charge of Department of Education. Now, you might look on paper and say, oh, she did serve, I think, on the Connecticut Board of Education. But that's just like saying, and that maybe gives her a little bit more credence than maybe Dr. Oz has for running Medicare and Medicaid. But there's a group out there that has basically said that she lied about her degree, that when she got onto this Connecticut Board of Education board that she's on, or she was on, I don't know if she still is, that she said that she had a degree in education when I think her degree is in like a foreign language, maybe French or something like that. So what, are we going to turn wrestling and are we going to turn schools into wrestling rings now? I mean, I enjoy watching wrestling. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I freely admit it. On my nerdydan.com channel, I have wrestling prediction videos, and in a lot of those wrestling prediction videos, I was spot on accurate. Like, WWE has this event called the Royal Rumble, where you have a battle royal of 30 people, sometimes more, and the winner of the battle royal gets to go wrestle the champion of their choice at WrestleMania. So winning the Royal Rumble is a big deal. One year, I picked two people who were not even announced to win the men's and the women's Royal Rumble, and I was right on both of them. So, and I have a cousin who has a very good connection in the wrestling industry. If you know who Bill Apter is, Bill Apter is very well known in wrestling circles. He's my cousin, and we've talked wrestling from time to time. He's hosted some of my videos on his channel as well. I guess before he got hired by Sportskeeda or whatever. But anyway, I'm a fan of wrestling. But I guess we shouldn't be surprised because we elected somebody president who shaved Vince McMahon's head in the middle of a wrestling ring. So now we're going to have somebody who got stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin in the middle of a wrestling ring too. Somebody who was pretending to be in a wheelchair and catatonic for weeks or months or whatever as part of a storyline, as Vince McMahon cheated on her in the storyline. Well, we may very well now know that Vince McMahon probably cheated on her in real life too, and there's other horrible things that Vince McMahon and others in the WWE or formerly of the WWE have been investigated for doing, i.e., sex trafficking. So I don't know if there's any evidence showing that Linda McMahon cooperated and took part in any of the alleged sex trafficking that went on within the WWE. I don't know that. But she was very close to it because she's married to the guy who's alleged to have participated in said sex trafficking as part of the WWE. Is the Donald Trump administration going to be called Sex Traffickers Anonymous? Or Sexual Assault? The Sexual Assault Corps? Are they going to come up with a cool wrestling nickname for the wrestling faction of all the people in the Trump administration who have been accused of either participating in sex trafficking and or who have violated the consent of other people? I mean, on Monday's show, we already talked about the allegations against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We've already talked about the allegations against, I can't even remember whatever, the guy who's running the guy who's going to be Secretary of Defense if Trump gets his way. Again, Hexef or whatever his name is, with the Jerusalem cross tattoo on his chest. You have Matt Gaetz, who there's testimony, again, that he paid for sex with minors via Venmo, and apparently according to one of the listeners on Twitch, they said that he was actually using Porn Nestor's account to be able to fund these transactions. But again, Speaker Johnson is protecting the Matt Gaetz from these allegations because he's trying to fight the release of those documents to the Senate committee and or publicly, although apparently some of them, if not all of them, have been hacked but not yet released, which is definitely something pretty interesting. If it does get hacked and released, we'll definitely, if we actually get to see the full documents, we'll definitely cover that as on one of the shows. So, Hulk Hogan and Alex Jones for Department of Supplements. Yeah, I mean, what's the next person going to be? Like, is Dr. Phil going to be like the Secretary of HUD or something? What's Hulk Hogan going to be now? Is Hulk Hogan going to be in charge of the presidential whatever fitness, even though he was alleged to have taken steroids or whatever? Who else is going to come around and and be nominated. It's a cast of clowns. It's a confederacy of dunces. It's so many people who are not qualified to be in this position. And we'll have plenty of other days where we will absolutely talk about more Trump appointments, because there's more coming down the line. I'm probably missing something. Donald Trump appointments. But anyway, we'll look at that in a second. But anyway, I'm recording this video, so I'm going to cut this part out of it when I post it later. But what do you think about Donald Trump's appointments or suggestion that we have Mehmet Oz or Linda McMahon or his other appointments to his cabinet, administration, etc.? Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and of course, as always, have a good day. So again, we will stop that recording. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, Dr. Oz is absolutely laughable. So I have a feeling that Trump pardons Ghislaine Maxwell. Maybe that would be interesting. Now, let's scroll back through the chat and see what we've missed. The ShamWow guy. We should get the ShamWow guy. Is he still alive? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it with the other guy, with the OxyClean guy. I don't know. So many infomercial guys. It's hard to get that. Kimchi says Jews did not vote for Orange Hitler. A plurality, or more Jews voted against Trump than voted for Trump. Unfortunately, there are Jewish people who did vote for Trump because they think that somehow he's going to make the situation in Israel better. Telling Netanyahu to raise Gaza or whatever, to finish the job, which finishing the job to me means raising Gaza, is not a way to make things better in the area. Let's see, it looks like the chosen people listened to President Trump and voted for him. Is it their fault they voted for him? I mean, people often vote against their best interests. There are Jews who supported Hitler, real Hitler, back in the 30s because either they thought he wasn't really going to do what he talked about doing in 33, or that because they supported him, that they would be an exception to the rule and that they would be safe under Hitler's administration. People are now finding out. They're in the finding out phase. I made a new tag group on Facebook. I love the finding out phase. People are finding out now. People are angry at Trump's appointment of Governor Huckabee to be ambassador to Israel, because Governor Huckabee doesn't even think Palestine is a thing. He doesn't even think that the Palestinian people have the right to any of the land that's over there, and he supports a full single-state solution where the Israelis control everything and the Palestinians control nothing. That's not a way to get peace in the region. So, let's see. I think it's time Republicans announced that Gates, Oz, McMahon, Hegseth, Gabbard, RFK Jr. are all DEI hires, and as total moron community and top government positions have been underrepresented. That would be great if that was DEI, if they were supposedly DEI hires. I did forget to say hello, Daily News. Good to see you. Even if we disagree on the topics, you are somebody who has been a fan of the show for longer than many other people. Again, what do you think, Daily News, about Blog Talk Radio going away? Are you sad about that? You'll have to only listen to me here. You can't listen to me on Blog Talk Radio. Let's see. The sentence you just typed makes Tim. The sentence you just typed makes me physically nauseated. What about Trump pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell? Probably. I mean, he'll probably do that for her silence. Either that or her do that and then have her offed. I don't know. Because we all know that Donald Trump had very close connections with, Jeffrey Epstein. People want to make a big stink about Jeffrey Epstein. Speaking which, let's make a new video, another video, shall we? According to our good friend Gibson Media, we apparently have been watched at least one time by Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I've joked around that Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks that Liberal Dan Radio is the best progressive podcast out there. I don't know. Does she really say that? Who knows? But there is one thing that I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and, you know, it's very interesting to find myself in agreement with all MTG, with all 6B, right? She said, well, if you're going to release Matt Gaetz' information publicly, we should release all the information publicly. All of the information should be released. 100% of it. But let's see Epstein's list. Let's see the information about all of the settlements that have been done in the halls of Congress, whose officials, what employees from what offices. Don't necessarily have to list all of the employees, but who actually had people in their offices that, you know, were accused of sexual violence and are now being compensated out of federal funds. Fine. I'm good with it. I'm good with releasing all of that information. Give us all the tea. Let us see all of the people. Because unlike y'all, who are unwilling to call your own kind out, MTG, unlike y'all, we have no problem burying our own when they're accused of wrongdoing. Hell, we've buried our own when there's no evidence of wrongdoing. Al Franken. We have no problem calling out our own people and calling them to the floor and getting them removed from, you know, wherever they're from. But these conservative politicians and many people who support them have no issue with putting Matt Gaetz up there, have no problem with putting other people who may very well have committed acts of sexual violence against other people up there. So yes, let's see everybody. Let's see all the names. And look, I'll say, if just because you're on a list of people who took a plane with Jeffrey Epstein, that doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong. It's very well possible that there was another event that was taking place at Epstein's Island that, who knows? Maybe it was a good charitable event with no sex trafficking whatsoever. But we should still be able to see who's palling around with old Jeffrey Epstein, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to see it. I fully support that 100%. Fight for that, Marge. Make sure that happens. But don't be a hypocrite, which we know you will be. Don't be a hypocrite when it comes to who should be punished for their bad actions and violating the consent of others, and who should not be punished. Let's punish everyone who has violated people's consent, and we'll be a much better place for it. Might mean you might have to remove your president too, because, you know, old grab him by the hoo-ha, who doubled down on that in the middle of their of the deposition, which is the dumbest thing he could have, one of the dumbest things he could have done in that deposition, at least. You know, let's see it all. Put sunshine on it. See all the cockroaches scurry. Would be great. Would be wonderful. But I don't believe that she's willing to put her money where her mouth is. I don't believe she's willing to accept Matt Gaetz's the revealing of Matt Gaetz's wrongdoings just to get other people's as well. If she's a typical MAGA type conservative, she will circle the wagons and protect their own, not caring about who he harmed or who gets harmed in the process. Again, what do you think? Agree or disagree? Put your comments down below. Like, subscribe, and share. And as always, have a good day. I'll have 2 videos to share after the show's over, or maybe after my Nerdy Dan stream is over, because again, when I'm done with this, maybe in about 10 or 12 minutes or so, I'm going to flip over to the Nerdy Dan on Twitch to play the initial few minutes of Disney's Dreamlight Valley. Daily News, are you going to download any of the shows that I helped put you on a map? I don't know which shows those would be. I mean, you have to download them individually. I've lost some of them. Apparently some of them have been lost into the ether. Not the Ethernet, but just lost in general, because when I've tried to listen to some very, very old episodes, like initial episodes, those episodes were not there to be downloaded. But, you know, if I do have spare time, I'll probably will try and download a bunch of the pre-YouTube episodes, especially those episodes that I thought were really well done. Now, once I've gotten to YouTube, there's no need for me to keep the Blog Talk Radio episodes around, because, well, I have this, and these episodes are superior to the Blog Talk Radio ones because, if we have a video chat or if I'm playing, things over a video on YouTube, that audio doesn't go to Blog Talk Radio, so those episodes might very well be lacking. And very recently, we've pretty much only been using Blog Talk Radio as a soundboard and as a function to be able to enable people to call into the show, like we just had our last guest call in and help us explain all of the fun that was had in the New Orleans Holiday House. So she's screaming for something she knows will never happen. That's probably true too. And she's screaming for something that she probably won't have the balls to back up either. When called on it, she won't accept it. When called on it, she'll instead just help circle the wagons around Matt Gaetz and RFK Jr. and all the other people who have been accused of wrongdoing because they will protect their own and they won't attack their own. Simple as that. I was frankly shocked when Large Marge and Boebert went at it. Had their little tiff, had their bad blood, so to speak, if we're speaking of Taylor Swift and her and the jokes that are made because of all the bad blood that happens. See, MTG is the favorite to head Space Force on account of her unparalleled knowledge of space lasers. Pew pew! You have to be Jewish to run those space lasers, though, don't you? Because that's what started the wildfires, right? According to old MTG. Daily News. Rich people can grab however they want to. I mean, you probably meant whoever they want to. That's what Donald Trump said. That's what he said in the Access Hollywood interview. That's what he said in his deposition. That just proves that he's a scumbag piece of trash. Because you should only be grabbing people who consent to said grabbing. If you do not obtain a consent to said grabbing, then you are a rapist piece of crap, and you have no business anywhere near anybody. Period. Let's see. Dude, sicko analyzing the other party, and we all know this already. Why can't they just kick out the wackos? Both sides take responsibility. Because if the Republican Party kicked out all of their elected official wackos, they wouldn't have anybody left. Nick Rich, 650 plus videos on Dan's channel. Another 2 after the show. At least, right? Maybe a third, Nick Rich, because it's time for Liberal Dan Radio Fat Man Rant. Because I have something else I want to record. Earlier in the chat, somebody was talking about the Ukraine issue and Biden starting World War III. This is akin and similar to the whole idea of victim blaming. It's Biden causing World War III. Biden allowing Ukraine to fire long-range missiles into Ukraine is somehow going to cause World War III to start. Right? That's what they say. That's what they believe. Which is ridiculous. Because Ukraine is defending itself. Biden is helping Ukraine defend itself. The only person to blame in this whole thing for causing World War III, if it really does happen, is Vladimir Putin for starting the offensive. Vladimir Putin is the one who invaded Ukraine. Ukraine is defending itself and should be able to defend itself from the aggression by Putin. Putin escalated it more because he started getting North Korean troops to come in to help supplement his own troops. So he's bringing in North Korean troops to help him invade Ukraine. The responsibility of stopping this is not on Joe Biden. It's not on Donald Trump. It's not on Vladimir Zelensky. It's on Vladimir Putin, the person who started the fight. The person who started the fight is responsible for the fight, is the one who should be held accountable for any of the wrongdoings that takes place within the fight. And Ukraine should be able to defend itself from the aggressor to the north. And just as a reminder to all the people who want to say that we have no business in Ukraine, when Ukraine split off from the Soviet republics, when it became its own nation, when that happened, they had a whole bunch of nukes. And we told them that they needed to give up the nukes. And if they gave up the nukes, we would help to support them if Russia ever got froggy. Russia's gotten froggy, and we have to live up to our side of the deal. If we don't, what does that make us? And if we don't, why would anybody else listen to us ever again? If we tell them, look, if you do X, we'll have your back. Oh, but you said you would do X for Ukraine, and you didn't have their back. Words have meaning, and our word should have meaning as well. When we give our word, we should follow through on that word that we gave. We told Ukraine we would defend them if Russia starts getting, aggressive. Well, Russia's aggressive. Russia has invaded. We need to have their back. And so far under Joe Biden, we have had their back. We've enabled them to fight back. And now Donald Trump wants to come in and who knows what the hell he's going to do. In my opinion, he's just going to capitulate and appease the bully, Vladimir Putin. But we all know what a policy of appeasement does, looking back at, World War II and previous to World War II, and appeasing the Nazis. What did that do? Appeasing Putin is just stupid and reckless. And if Putin decided one day, I would like Russia to take Alaska. Alaska should be Russian territory, not American territory, and came in and invaded Alaska. Would these people be saying, oh, we shouldn't fight with Putin. We should just let him have Alaska, because if we fight back, it might start World War III. How dumb is that? That would be stupid, and it's just as stupid to tell the Ukrainians that they shouldn't fight back, and it's just as stupid to tell the Ukrainians that we won't have their back when we promise to. Again, what do you think? Agree? Disagree? Leave your comments down below. Like, subscribe, and share, and have a good day. So there you go, Nick. Fat man rant for you. Daily News, how else is Putin going to get Poland? And Putin will feel that he has nothing stopping him from taking Poland. There was somebody, I should have been in the Fat Man rant. Thank you for reminding me of that. I think there was somebody who literally said that if all Putin's going to do is take Ukraine and some of Poland. Like, that's okay. It's not okay. Not at all. Putin should keep Russia within the borders of Russia. What is it, Candace Owens? If all Putin wanted to do was make Russia great again, then it would be fine, right? That's what Candace Owens says about Hitler and claims it wasn't anti-Semitic. It was totally anti-Semitic. But, look, the idea that Ukraine shouldn't defend itself is absurd. The idea that we shouldn't help Ukraine defend itself when we promised them that we would help them defend themselves if Russia did anything that needed them to be defended by is absurd. And it's so crazy that all these people now are backing, Putin, when way back in the day during the Obama administration, Putin was persona non grata. If Obama said that he was going to potentially, be able to work out some deals with Russia after the election was over, and they all were clutching their pearls and had their panties in collective bunches about him saying that to the Russian official. But now, Donald Trump is Putin's little bitch, and they don't care. They look up to Putin now. To them, Putin is strong, like bear. And they don't care if Donald Trump bends over backwards or forwards for bear, because Putin, he's a real leader. He's somebody who, says what he means, take what he wants. Like Donald Trump, he grab people by the hoo-ha, he take what he wants. Putin, he grab Ukraine by hoo-ha, he takes what he wants. And that's what they like. Where was Biden to help Hong Kong? Wasn't the Hong Kong thing based on a treaty? And they didn't invade Hong Kong, they just took over Hong Kong based on the treaty. No military action there. It's kind of silly, but it's not the same thing as Russia and Ukraine. Not even close. I knew I'd be talking a lot. I knew I might be a little animated a little bit, so. See, Moon Girl said, I've been to NOLA once. I know what the city is like. Very fun and welcoming. Yeah, that's what we're hospitality city. Conventions should all be here because New Orleans is a great place to hold conventions. New Orleans and Vegas. I mean, I understand why didn't you go other places like New York and LA. You know, those places are nice to go to too. But New Orleans knows how to do conventions right. So, see, Kimchi, I still remember the dream I had 63 years ago in the dentist chair under nitrous oxide. Ooh, what kind of dream was that? I think I might want to know. You're welcome, Nick, for doing a Fat Man rant. I don't know if it's Jewish, but I have a laser. Jeff Scurry says, I have a laser that can light candles and pop balloons. Easy way to tell if it's Jewish or not. Does it have a cover over the tip, or was the cover removed? If the cover was removed, it may very well be a Jewish laser. If the cover is still over it, it's not a Jewish laser. Sorry. See, what if we just decided to take the Yucatan? Would that be cool? I mean, that's what they would think, and they would think, oh, if you invade something, conservatives like you should invade. And even when I called in the Jeff Carrera show, and I'm convinced that I have more listeners, I have more people watching my show than Jeff Carrera has listening to his, simply because of the fact he only has like the same 7 callers every day. It's occasionally you'll get a couple more, but it's the same callers every day. I don't know how he sells advertisement. It's bizarre. But when I told him my Alaska analogy, he kind of chuckled, and he had to admit that I had a point. That if Russia invaded Alaska, we would have every right to fight back against the Russians and demand that we get all of Alaska back. Ukraine has every right to demand that they get all of Ukraine back. Simple as that. Now, if there was going to be a free and fair election that said, for example, of the Crimeans, where the Crimeans actually got to say what they wanted to say without any interference from Putin or any other outside influence, and if the Crimean themselves said, hey, we want to vote to be part of Russia and not be part of Ukraine, fine. Perfectly fine with that. People should be able to vote themselves off the island if they want to. But that's not what Putin is doing. Putin is invading. And the only reason Putin invaded is because Trump wasn't president. And I say that not because Trump was strong leader, strong like bull. No. He knew Trump was a weak-ass pain in the ass. I'll say something else with a P. He knew Donald Trump would capitulate to anything that he wanted, and that's why Trump ceded him power in Syria. It's why Trump tried to weaken NATO. Donald Trump would do anything Putin wanted to help Putin out. So that's why Putin didn't have to invade Ukraine, because Putin was getting power in other ways when Donald Trump was president. Now, best wishes to all the people in Ukraine, but I'm not optimistic about the future of Ukraine at this point. So and now Ukraine is now Russia is saying that they're gonna drop nukes. Like, that's just blustery talk. Because what? They're gonna nuke us? They know that we have the ability to wipe him off the map. They're not gonna do that. Maybe they might drop a small tactical fusion bomb that doesn't have much thing, and that would suck. I don't advocate for that clearly, but it's not the similar threat as it was, 50 years ago, when there was mostly fission bombs and, that caused radioactive fallout to spread all over the place and go all across the globe. Have smaller, more compact fusion bombs that only just cause a big blast and don't leave all the fallout. But again, it's still not a good thing. But a lot of people have this picture in their mind of what nuclear war is going to look like based off of duck and cover videos from the 50s, instead of actually understanding what the science says about what these bombs do now. Still, nobody wants a nuke dropped. I don't even think Putin wants to drop a nuke. I think Putin's just being blustery or whatever. But or maybe he's just insane, and then in which case, something needs to happen there. The Russian people need to figure out a way to take care of itself, right? Anyway, Chernobyl is still a sore subject for Ukraine and Poland. Well, sure, but that was nuclear. But again, Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island and Fukushima are the reasons why people are afraid of having nuclear power plants, when nuclear power plants in reality are probably some of the most cleanest forms of energy out there that we could use, but nobody wants a nuclear power plant in their backyard. Which, it's NIMBY hypocrisy to the max. Anyway, let us go ahead. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Get this. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and call it quits here, but we're going to move over in a few minutes to nerdydan.com to try out the new Disney Dreamlight Valley. If you want to join me over on twitch.tv/nerdydan.com, we can still talk about the political issues or whatever. Daily News, your rants are refreshing. Well, thank you, Daily News. I appreciate that. I like to think I bring new and interesting looks at the world's politics, that I'm not just repeating the same old, but, it is what it is, right? Anyway, so again, this is the end of today's episode of Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right. Please remember to, if you know any Swifties out there, or anybody who might be interested in that, share this episode with them clearly, because I think we went into a good job of, granted, again, it was it could have been any artist over there, but it just happened to be Swifties, so again, share the video, remember to like and subscribe, comment on other videos, help the algorithms. Meet me in a few minutes at twitch.tv/nerdydan.com, and we'll have some fun over there as well. Until next time, this is Dan Zimmerman with Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left. That's right.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.